Hi everybody! Today we are in a youth center and we are recording a podcast for NGO 23 Flowers, our Flowers podcast. And for today we will talk about music, culture and the power of art in our difficult times. And our special guest today is Abraham Kенні, who knows Diamond Blow, right?
Abram Kенні. The Diamond Blow was my old the pseudonym.
Just Abraham Kенні. It's an Australian musician who has been working in Europe for many years and recently has been performing all over Ukraine, so supporting us with his music. So today we will have a lot of speaking about this topic, so I think it will be great. Okay, also we have audience for today and we will have a block with 3 questions, but later. And I think now it will be like заставка. Intro. Вот так. Okay. Okay, let's start. And the first question that we have about your story, like how did you become a musician and why did you choose this way of your job? I don't know. Is it your job?
I'm not sure actually.
Okay.
A job you usually earn money from, so I guess it's not.
Okay, but still, how did you become a musician?
I became a musician when I was 11. I started playing drums. Yep.
Okay.
And I'd always sort of loved music and it caught my attention. But then when I was 11, I saw a friend play like a basic drum beat and I was like pretty blown away. So I was like, I got to do that. So
did you have a band when you were 11 years old?
No, but I think by 12 I had a band. Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Which the band it was?
It was just a couple of friends from high school. I went to high school maybe too young, and it was the 90s, so it was like Nirvana was very popular at the time, and so we kind of did this grunge era kind of, you know, ballads into heavy parts and stuff.
Slava Nirvana. Mm-hmm. Okay. And what is for now? Like you're still musician, okay? Which this type of music do you play? Write songs?
Yeah, well, I guess I write music not thinking about genre in particular. It comes out maybe with the instruments I use. I've started using some like old drum machines, so it has some industrial elements, and I use some sequencers and synthesizers and electric guitars. So I guess if you're thinking about it in terms of genre, then it's sort of a mix of this like post-punk and then some grunge era stuff, but it's a little bit more sort of progressive, I would say, because it doesn't really stick to these sort of specific sub-genres. Okay.
And for now, you're still a musician. And where do you live in now? Like you're from Australia, but we know that you're also living for now in Estonia.
Estonia, yeah.
Why? And how?
How? Yeah. Well, so to answer the first question, currently I'm not living anywhere. I'm like sort of in a transitionary sort of space, and I haven't really settled anywhere. So I've been in Australia the last year, but before that I was in Ukraine for 6 months, and then Israel for 4 months because I have family in Israel, and then now I'm back in Ukraine, and so the Baltics and Estonia I came to via Sweden. Actually, I lived 2 years in Sweden prior to living in Estonia, and that just happened because in high school I had a good friend who was from he was an exchange student from Finland, and we became best friends, and then I somehow got this Scandinavian bug, and I ended up in Sweden instead of Finland. I think maybe the language was a lot easier than Finnish. Finnish is extremely difficult, and but yeah, I spent a bit of time in Finland also. But yeah, and then Estonia was just like a way more interesting version of Scandinavia in a sense. It's just, you know, I think people have a different appreciation of some of the values that we take for granted in the West, in the what I consider, you know, the post-Soviet countries, because while the West enjoyed, you know, the freedoms and the economic prosperity post-Second World War, you were stuck behind the Iron Curtain. And for you, I think the conflict only ended in the 90s. So I think the value system is really different because of that. And I think it creates a different kind of person. And so I found it to be a lot more inspiring, and the connections to be sort of deeper in a sense, and the communication to be more real also. So, yeah.
Okay. And I know that you live in, I don't know,
Linnahall.
Oh, what is this? Why did you live in old, I don't know, what is it?
It's a Soviet-era concert hall.
Why? And how?
Yeah, well, anyone who wants to do art for a living, I don't recommend it if you want to have like a normal life.
Okay.
Because, you know, the amount of sort of mental space that's required to sort of be creative is usually it eats into other areas of your life, and you end up sacrificing things like comfort and you know, economic well-being. So I ended up in Linnahall precisely because of these reasons, that I didn't really have money or a place to live. So
it was for free, right?
It turned out pretty close to free, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, so yeah, it's a 4,500 seat concert hall, and with 8 levels, built in for the Moscow Olympics in 1980, because they held their, you know, Estonia was like the western part of the Soviet Union, and so they really spent a lot redoing the whole foreshore beside the Bay of Tallinn. And Linnahall was like the centerpiece of that. So it's ginormous, and it's just fallen into disrepair, so it hasn't been used since 2009. And I came there in 2011, and you know, got along well with one of the old guys that's been there since the beginning, running a recording studio, and he talked to the director when I asked for a room, and they gave me a room, and I was sort of there ever since, and it became sort of like a spiritual base almost for me. It was like I could return there and have my own bathroom.
Okay.
And dressing room.
But was it scared, like living in a old place?
At first, it was sort of like, you know, when you come from somewhere like Australia and then you're sleeping by yourself in this giant building, only a doorman, there's 4 doormen, and they change every 24 hours. So at first, the thought process was, how did it get to this? Sort of like, how am I in this situation? So it was, but I have this, you know, this skill in romanticizing everything. So I quickly learned how to do that with Linnahall, maybe 110%, and I really fell in love with the building. Actually, I fell in love with it straight away. It's something, I love architecture and buildings, and especially places that have a strong sense of nostalgia,
you're
maybe.
You're a drama queen.
There's a bit of drama going on there, yeah.
Does it influence on you like an artist, this experience?
Totally, yeah. I mean,
How?
I made it the centerpiece of my artistic statement, actually. I have albums called Linnahall. I have videos recorded. I have an album which I recorded alone on the stage. You know, maybe I'm too prone to sort of adopting my surroundings, and like, you know, like I'm not sure if it's like a cat does, but you know how a cat sort of, you know, feels sort of very connected to its surroundings, and starts to maybe feel ownership over it. So I don't own Linnahall, unfortunately, but if I had the money, I would. So
Okay. Let's talk about your experience in Ukraine. How did you get to Ukraine in 2023, right?
Yep, that was
What motivated to you to come during full-scale invasion?
Yeah. So I guess the full-scale invasion motivated me to come because, when the war started in 2022, I was in Estonia. And as you know, you have a shared history with the occupation, a lot of trauma. So it was a big deal for the Baltic states. There was a lot of feelings that sort of came up overnight. And since I'd been there 13 years, I felt quite in tune with it somehow. It sort of turned my world upside down in a sense, like, what I thought was possible in this day and age, or impossible in a sense. So everyone was saying Russia is going to invade. My dad was on the phone, you should get out of Estonia. Russia, okay, they're not going to invade. No one does that in this day and age. They're using soft power as a way to achieve their aims, putting troops, but never going to do anything. And so that really showed how naive I was, and actually the West in general, because no one really...
Which cities?
Pretty much all the capitals, the Western capitals, sort of have never listened to Putin or Russia and what his true intentions were, even though he stated it time and time again. And then we in the West continue to do business and continue to think that our values and our ways of thinking are somehow going to bring, someone like him and his regime into the fold of this sort of global economic integration and peace and prosperity will therefore proceed in that way. So it sort of changed my thinking overnight, and I couldn't see the relevance of making music or art really at that point in time, but just sort of at the spur of the moment, I wrote to a place in Lviv and said, hey, do you want a concert? And they were like, yeah, sure, okay. But I had some visa issues. I couldn't cross the border. So I had to go back to Australia for a year. And I'm the kind of person that if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. So I saved money. And then I wrote to a guy in Kiev, and he said, yeah, I can help you get a tour if you like. And so then I had a whole tour, and then so I came in 23 in the summer.
Okay, in which cities you already have been?
So in 23 I played all up, including 24 and now. Odessa. I always start in Odessa because I fly into Chisinau in Moldova. So Odessa, then usually I go to Dnipro. Then I've been to Kremenchuk, Kramatorsk, Kharkiv, Poltava, Sumy, Chernihiv,
Pretty much.
Kiev, Khmelnytsky, Ternopil, Vinnytsia, Ivano-Frankivsk. Have I left any out? Lviv, did I say? Maybe?
No.
Okay, yeah. And
Chernihiv.
Yeah, Chernihiv, of course. Yeah.
Okay, and which city do you like mostly?
Chernihiv, of course.
The right answer.
Yeah. No, I mean, I do have good experiences in Chernihiv. Yeah, I like the people. But yeah, I guess I actually do. Yeah, Kharkiv, Kiev, Dnipro, Odessa.
And which city was like most memorable for you? Not only about the beauty of the city, and maybe some memories, some stories, interesting.
Yeah, well, I guess at this time, each city is sort of has a specific relationship to the war as well, because some cities are being bombarded more than others. Some cities have experienced heavy fighting, like Chernihiv, in the early days, and that does change, I think, the identity of a city, whether it had to, push out the invaders. So I think Kramatorsk is always, has a very unusual feeling because of its proximity to the front.
Yeah, unfortunately. So, and what is the difference about the Ukrainian audience and the other countries? Like, how did they react to your music?
Yeah, I would say there's just a greater appreciation here, I feel. The audiences feel to be operating on a different emotional level. And yeah, that's quite refreshing, because I guess for the music I do also, it sort of often feels like it goes under the radar in a lot of countries, especially Australia, where it just doesn't meet anyone on the emotional level that I would like it to. And so in Ukraine, I feel like it sort of finds its voice and some the response that I would be looking for, I guess.
And it's your fourth time in Chernihiv, right?
Yeah.
And tomorrow you also will have a concert.
Yeah.
Якщо що, на концерті всі приходимо. What about the audience in Chernihiv?
Yeah, it's good and nice audience for sure. Like,
okay.
Always really welcoming, and the concerts haven't been particularly wild in spirit. Somehow, maybe it's partly the places I've played. Not that my music's very wild anyway. So
you will have a concert in Перемоги Center.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to say, yeah, there was an instance here in Chernihiv that really stood out in one of my tours, where I was having some problems with my pedals, and then some guy just got up and hugged me for like 30 seconds on the stage. That was quite sweet.
Yeah, our audience in Перемога Center, вона така, любить обніматися. Okay. Will you play your new album for tomorrow?
There'll be some songs from it for sure, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so let's talk about your new album.
Yeah,
Runa,
let's do so.
right?
Yeah, Runa.
Okay. Yeah. Tell us about this album, and what genre is it?
Sure. So it's an album that I never planned to make it. It just sort of came about when I was touring in 23 and in 24 also. And I met one guy, you might know him, an artist, Vasya Richter. He's like an alternative rock indie kind of indie star. And anyway, so yeah, he was like, I have this Tascam tape machine, and you can record some stuff. I was like, I liked the idea of doing something very spontaneously and with a sense of urgency and not planned out. And so I went to his place and in Kiev and just put down some tracks, 4 tracks, really quickly. And then I went to see family in Israel for 4 months, and happened to be there during the October 7 stuff, and that's a whole nother story. But then I came back to Ukraine in 24 and decided to make it a full album. So by that time he had a place called Studio Reverb, which I'm actually playing at in Kiev in a couple of weeks. And then I recorded the rest there. And then also I've been staying in an apartment in Odessa, and I bought a little Philips tape recorder and played some guitar over that. And so it's pretty super lo-fi and very raw. And the genre, I guess, it's like probably, still that sort of post-punk sort of esque stuff. I it always makes me bored when I say it, because the genre is so limiting. But yeah, so I wanted to make something while here, and yeah. So
you made this album for 2 years, like
no.
First part in 23.
In 23, I was here for 3 months, and I just at the very end for a few days. Then I was away for 4 months.
No,
I came back.
Like 2 years, but with a long pause.
Yeah, and then I came back for 3 months, and then I recorded again. And then when I went back to Australia, I sent it to one young guy, Dennis, who's from Mariupol, and but he was living in Poland, and he mixed it.
Okay, and how many songs does it have?
9.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why does the album have this title?
Runa, yeah.
does it mean?
Well, it's a Ukrainian name, right? No? Do you know anyone called Runa? Anyone?
We know Runa like закривашки оці в баночках, ну типа ketchup Runa or what?
Oh, you have a ketchup called Runa?
Yeah,
Cool.
we have
I like
ketchup
that.
that name Runa.
I like.
Different pickled vegetables.
Pickled, ketchup, everything
Really?
of this.
And you
Yes.
call that Runa?
No, it's a name of like
Is it a label?
It's a label.
Yeah, label.
Like Nizhyn also has
Yeah.
it. And you have Runa that. Perfect. Yeah, that's why I called it.
But I
the
don't think that's what you want to say.
Well,
this
actually,
name.
it kind of is, if I had have known that, because I do love pickled vegetables. No, okay, so it's my reasons are more lame than that, unfortunately. I had a photo that I was going to use for the album cover, and it was me standing in front of a building in Estonia, where I live, and part of the building had been demolished. And so I thought, what could I call the album with this photo? Maybe Ruin. And I was like, that kind of sucks, and also it's very sort of negative, and I don't really want to be bringing some sort of negative connotation into a place that, needs maybe more uplifting than so I looked up the meaning, what that word is in Ukrainian, and anyway, somehow I got to Runa, which means like a rune, like the ancient, like sort of Nordic style inscription, which, also has some sort of, not kind of the connotation I wanted either, actually, is that sort of folky, nationalistic sort of symbology is not really my thing. But as a name, I just liked that it was sort of ambiguous, and so I just went, a name. And also in Latvian it has a meaning too, not that it's connected to Latvia, this album, but it means speech. So in Latvian.
Speech or
Yeah,
peach?
like speech.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm so sorry. Не чую, баба. Okay, and do you see some mission of this album, maybe personal or artistic or maybe political mission?
No, not really. No major mission. I mean, I don't think art, or music is going to change anything in the world, but it's all everything comes down to sort of the interpersonal relationships. That's all I can do as an artist is sort of hope to connect in that way, because on a geopolitical level, it's going to take a lot more than a couple of cassettes.
Okay. And maybe, music, it's not a changer, everything in our world, but still it's really important for people, because it's about our emotions and about so on. Yeah. And what do you think about music and about culture in general during the war?
Yeah, it's a big question, and I tried to answer it once in an article in Estonia, and the answer I gave then is probably going to be different to what I give now, because obviously that was at the beginning of the war, before I'd been here. And I think this is an answer a question that I can't answer entirely, that only people who live with the war can really answer, in the sense that I don't know how important it is for you as Ukrainians. I'm told by people that it's that it's important, and some people are really glad for the gesture of someone coming from abroad and making music or art here. For myself, that's, I guess, enough of a reason, is that I don't come here with like a set mindset, like I'll bring my music and it'll be like everything will be great. It's more like I come here with this sort of question mark, like I kind of have this to offer, and maybe it's received, and maybe for some people it gives them something that is important to them at the time. And I think I look at being creative or making art at a time like this as sort of to use a cliche, like making meaning from madness, in a sense. And in a sense, making art is always absurd. Being creative, you know, you're always having to face that sort of question of like, what's the point? What's the point of making art? You know, it's sort of so. But given the context of like a full-scale invasion and the brutality that this war has, you know, and is, you know, that's occurring. I guess the question maybe carries more weight.
It's really important for us because we understand this portion from people who come here, who are making music here. Maybe it's really not super change the situation in our country, but still somebody comes to Ukraine, wow, from other country. Even if we have these rockets and so on, but still.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is there is a civilian life, you know, regardless, and it seems that it's in the morale of the people is probably something that's still very important, I guess, and so I guess artists, and whether they're Ukrainian or from abroad, it's a part of maybe trying to keep up the morale. You know, the military aspect is something else entirely, and that's where the things are decided. Yep.
And you was in Ukraine twice?
Actually, so during the war, it's my third time, and I was in Ukraine once before the war in 2018, but only briefly and only in Lviv, so I didn't experience Ukraine really.
My question is, like, what culture do you like mostly in Ukraine? Like urban, local, street food, music? No, maybe except music.
Yeah.
Maybe food, вареники, борщ.
Yeah, no, I love, actually, Ukrainian food is amazing. It's not that, you know, there's a lot of similar dishes in other parts of Eastern Europe, but your products here are like super good. I don't know, it's hard to describe, but if I eat food here, I feel like I get more nutrients than from anywhere else in the world. It's like I get something like emotional from it that I don't get from a lot of other places. So yeah, I do love the food, whether it's from the supermarket or from you know, like you know, a pizzeria. but yeah, in terms of culture, it's you know, each city is so distinct, and yeah, I do feel pretty good and at home with the general like mentality and the people, and so yeah.
Okay, do you have the song that you like mostly in Ukraine?
Yeah, I have
or artist.
Yeah, I do. I don't want to say the name wrong because it sounds. Her name is Rusia, if you know her.
Rusia?
She's from the 80s, pop star. I actually
80s?
Yeah. I do.
Це дуже стара. Боже.
Yeah, I do a cover of.
Не стій під вікном, не дивися смачно.
Так.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have a lot of youth here, maybe not everybody, so we will make a caption here, like.
Yeah. So I do a cover of one of her songs on the album.
Okay.
Yeah, Krzyżynka.
Ти крижинка, серце з холодного скла. Доля моя, воля, то доля моя.
Okay, we will.
Yeah, you can find it on YouTube. Yeah, and it features a singer, like a duet with a girl from Kiev who sings on it. Yeah.
Okay. So I think we already can ask our audience about the questions. So, do you know what you want to ask about? So we have who wants to be first? I think Alona will be first, and then. Okay. So, time for questions. Yo.
Okay. You say that you're creating your song by yourself, not with somebody's help. What part of creating song is the hardest for you?
What part is the hardest? Probably just like fine-tuning it and finishing it. If I write a song to begin with, then it's not a difficult process because I never try and force to write a song. Sometimes I dream songs, so it's already written. That's very handy, and I've become very lazy as I've gotten older because
Dream song, like when you sleep?
I just wake up and I have a song written.
Really?
Yeah. And
Okay.
so since that's been occurring, I'm like, why should I try and write a song if I can just dream it? So I've kind of gotten lazier, but at the same time, sometimes I need to finish the song, and it's usually like I have one verse from the dream and maybe a chorus, and then the second verse. That'll take me sometimes a year, to finish.
That's cool. Okay, how do you meet and get acquainted?
Acquainted?
Acquainted.
How do you meet and get acquainted with
Uh-huh.
people in the places you visit?
Just at shows, I guess. Yeah.
I just have family friends that he has как бы совет. Порада совет. Advice. Yeah, he have advice that if you go to place, you need to find a bar and drink beer with the people, and then you will meet the culture and so on.
That's probably one way.
Yes, but let's not speaking about beer in youth center, please. Please.
I'm sorry. Okay. Does your hobby being a musician take much time in your life besides your main work and duties?
Well, I wouldn't say music has been a hobby for me. It's sort of been my life, everything I've put into it, and I have worked. Obviously, I've worked more as a drummer, as like a professional drummer. So I have worked as a musician in that sense. The work I do with my own music, it's full-time work. It just doesn't bring me any money, which is unfortunate, So I have to usually do some part-time jobs or live in bizarre places like concert halls and abandoned concert halls and whatnot.
Okay.
So.
And which hobby would you like to try as well, but didn't try it yet?
Should I like to try? Haven't tried. I'm sure there are some. I just, I've kind of done most of the things I want to do. I'm a surfer. I was a skater for many years, and mountain biking and playing chess, and so yeah. I guess if I have an interest, I always go towards it. But yeah, no, there is something actually that I do want to get into, but I want to do it when I have if I have a piece of land somewhere, and I would like to do archery because I find it really good for concentrating, and I did it once with darts, so just for hours in the backyard could do it. Yeah, and I got good at it, so I was like, cool.
Cool. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So who wanna be next?
Actually, I also have a few questions,
Sure.
and the first we've already talked about it, but I just want to dive more into it.
Yep.
So, I think it is really important creating art in wartime, but it is also kind of an interesting job because you gotta represent yourself as an artist. You gotta put your interests, but also I think it is really important to show support to people through your music and just represent the things that are really important at that time for these people.
Yeah.
So do you think this is a part of your mission as in that new album? Or you just write what you think you just enjoy?
No, I think you're onto something for sure. It is, you put yourself in a situation as an artist, in this sense, to sort of show solidarity. That's really all that it is. It's an act of solidarity. At the same time, it's not altruistic. I'm still getting something in return. I'm getting often, the appreciation for doing it, an audience, in a way that I don't get, say, in somewhere like Australia, where they don't really maybe get where I'm coming from. But it does change something in the way, the way I've approached playing live and the way I've approached even making music, because I think before I came to Ukraine, you know, I was very sort of solipsistic, meaning that, you know, my world was very much, I'm the center of the story. I mean, everyone in a sense is the center of their own story, but when you put yourself in context of a much bigger story, which is the survival of Ukraine and the Ukrainian language and identity, you know, my story becomes a lot more insignificant. And when I played the first time through here, I think even the second time, I was like, I could feel that dissonance, sort of creative and spiritual dissonance in the act. And so I think coming back this time, I've been a lot more kind of blank, like trying to just be less, almost like less of a center and more just part of the room or something like that. So it's sort of conceptually changed the way I approach making music and creating. And the album, yeah, it's hard to say because some of the songs I wrote in Ukraine and some I'd already written back in Estonia. And I think the ones I wrote in Ukraine already have a little bit of a different sort of element in them. And I like it more, and I'm wanting to go more towards that, less about sort of the personal and the emotional and the cathartic element of making music, and more towards something that's maybe more solid and meditative, and that can be like, you know, bring connection to people in a way that gives strength to them and to myself as well.
Thank you. And it's like you just wake up with the song like from your dream. So
Yeah.
I think it's a concept like you just lived here. Maybe you got something like just a lot in your thoughts, so that the thoughts represent your experience, and after that, just representing it into your songs, and this way supporting people, or just like providing more like emotional connection or something like that.
Well, that's the hope, that if I'm hearing melodies, that they are sort of connected to the sort of some sort of collective unconscious, and tapping into something that's there and resonates.
A few more questions.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you, what instruments can you play?
Okay, so I'm a trained drummer from a young age, and then I sort of picked up piano, guitar, and singing along the way, but not really as a you know, I'm not really trained in those instruments, only on drums. But I do perform using guitar and vocals, and I also play some live drums with some electronic stuff too.
That's impressive, yeah. And you mentioned that you just, when you started living in that, if I'm not mistaken, like abandoned hall for concerts, so you just asked for it, like, could I just use it as a place? So do you think it is really important just to try and ask someone for something? Because you're not going to be worse after asking, but you may receive something and it'll eventually help you with something. Because some people say this, like, just do it, but do you think like you should approach like a lot of things that you can, if you have the ability?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if it's not out of line, I guess why not? I mean, in the case of the concert hall, it was no harm in asking, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The worst could have happened was just be like, no, there's no space, there's no room, you know. So in that case, sometimes asking is a matter of pride for people, you know. They don't want to ask, or sort of. That's fair enough. That's each to their own, you know.
Maybe just people are kind of like shy.
Shy, yeah.
But it is really inspiring to hear that you can just, like, from other people, you can just try and ask something. Like, it's not hard, and maybe you'll get what you want.
Well, you have to take into account Estonia as a country too, and the kind of mentality they have there, and it's very specific, because there's no way I could have ended up living in a place like that in a lot of other places, say anywhere in Western Europe probably, or Australia, where everything's quite organized. Not things are very organized in Estonia, don't get me wrong, but Estonians have a kind of thing that they focus what's going on in front of them and who's in front of them, and what you do to the side of that it's just like they don't really take notice. So if someone's living in an abandoned concert hall, then who cares?
And maybe that also depends on what you're asking for.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. And the last question.
Yeah.
Where do you feel like home? Because you've lived in multiple countries. So where do you feel like most your place?
Well, Estonia has been really the place I've called home for a long time, and I felt really close to Tallinn as a city. Also Latvia and Riga. These two places I would say are the closest places I feel to home, and that building Linnahall too. Actually, it's really where I quite feel at home. And but the more time I spend in Ukraine, because I've spent 6 months here all up, and every time I come back here, I get sort of further to know the people in the country, and I feel like it's probably had some effect on me, because I haven't been back to the Baltics for 3 years, and I got a feeling I'll go back there with a little bit more of a Ukrainian flavor in the way I sort of am used to the interaction. It's more outgoing here, but still has that same sort of directness and intensity that I like in sort of this part of the world. So yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, hello. I will ask about genre of music. Would you like to try something new? To try to play the guitar in another genre of music to create something unique?
Well, yeah, I guess I like to think I am creating something unique, and that's why I don't like to use the term genre, because I only use it because people ask about it, and so they want like a kind of a clear definition of what style it is I'm doing. But so yeah, I wouldn't say the music I'm doing now is actually very genre specific in that sense, and I am definitely using the guitar a bit differently too, and the type of guitar I use is a bit different. I even use the drumstick on the guitar, and I've started to change the way I play guitar since last time to become a bit more free with it, and much more, because I actually kind of suck at guitar, so I thought, but then I started to go, wait a sec, I'm a really good drummer. Why don't I just play the guitar like I play the drums and not worry about all this melodic rules and language? And it's like, wow, I've just sort of opened a door, and it's actually way better. So.
The second question. What about your family? Are your family also musicians? Did they keep your choice to be famous?
Yeah, I come from a quite unique family, and there's musicians in my family, and a lot of sort of artistry. So yeah, I think if I had to become like a banker or a businessman, that would have been very rebellious in my family. So by being a musician and an artist, it's just sort of following in the footsteps, I guess.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I have one question. You mentioned that you like spontaneous things. What the most spontaneous thing you did in your whole life?
The most spontaneous thing I've done. Wow, such a big question. I can't. I'm sure I've done something. I've done some kind of stupid things, when I was young, like daredevil stuff. Like a friend said, I can't mention beer. That's right. It's Australia. All right, I'll give you $10. Let's say then, if you skate down this giant hill, which you could kind of like, if you fell, you get like a skin graft or something like that. So things like that. That's kind of very light. In terms of I guess my decision to leave Australia, I wouldn't say it was really spontaneous. I mean, it's sort of like unusual the way I did it. I packed 100 copies of my first album into my bag and moved to Scandinavia to become famous. Really like naive and hopeful, and without any idea of like that you need a visa or like how to stay in Europe. So I don't know if that's spontaneous. It's just a bit stupid. So.
In advance,
English is very bad, so I'm so sorry.
No problem.
But I have one question.
Yeah.
I've been visit your concert here in Geneva in 2023.
Ah, yeah,
In
okay.
Vermont Center, yes.
Yeah, that one, okay, yeah,
Yes,
I mentioned that.
And you had a song in German language. So my question is.
In German?
Yes, but.
No.
In the German, or it can be a language similar.
Estonian.
Estonian.
Yeah,
Estonian.
yeah. Endiselt Tallinnas.
They are so similar.
No,
No, I don't know.
probably my pronunciation.
Yes.
Yeah, because people think I sing in English in German, which is weird because I'm not
So
German.
Estonian language.
It was Estonian, yeah.
Okay, and do you think does the language has a big influence on the mood of the song in general?
Oh, for sure, yeah. That mood of that song and the language combined is so Estonian, in my opinion. I'd have to, if there was an Estonian here, we'd have to get their opinion. Yeah, it's very different from all my other songs, and the mood is very different, and obviously the sound of the language, as badly as I speak it, or don't speak it even, you know, it still, I think, conveys something very particularly Estonian, and what that is, it's hard to describe, I think.
Can you say something on Estonian?
Yeah, tere. Minu nimi on Abraham.
Понял.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yes. Do you have any advices for young musicians?
Oh my God. Yeah, I guess so. In what way? Like, what kind of advice? I mean, you know, like in terms of career, because I'm probably not the right person to ask for that. You know, touring Ukraine.
Someone wants to become a musician. Do you have any advices?
If they want to become a musician,
Yes.
yeah, I guess just do it, and don't like you know, wait around for anyone to tell you that it's okay, or that you know, I think with anything creative, whether it's music or any medium, it should come from like not should, I mean, it's just that if it comes from a need to do it, then you've just got to do it, and if you don't do it, you'll be miserable. But you're going to be miserable anyway if you become a musician, so it's just a different type of misery, so you got to choose which one you want. So
Maybe go live in an abandoned concert hall.
no, that's you know, I mean, some people they can balance normal life, you know, normal job, all that sort of stuff, and still pursue you know, like music on the side, you know, and that's for some people. Some people can't. They have to do everything 100%, and that means other parts of their life will, you know, it's like the triangle of needs, and everyone has a different sort of, you know, order of what's at the top of the needs, and my triangle of needs is completely bizarre in comparison to a lot of other people I know, where I need sort of, you know, some sort of this at the top, and that, you know, obviously food's always there, but yeah, sorry, abstract answer.
One more question. Do you consider yourself to be a happy person?
No.
Your music is so melancholic.
Yeah, I don't sort of like go too deep into it. In a sense, I think it's a temperament, you know. Some people are just by their temperament sort of, you know, have this sort of melancholia and this sort of awareness of the transient nature of everything, and so everything that's beautiful is tinged with pain, you know, and I think it makes everything a lot brighter, but also a lot heavier too. So it doesn't really lend itself to happiness as a sort of emotional state, but, you know, happiness as a sort of maybe could be seen in various ways, in the sense that, you know, the core of like what keeps you going, maybe I think there's some things that are more important than happiness, and that's like the fulfillment of your soul, in a sense. Yeah.
You just chose to be miserable with music rather than without it.
Exactly.
And it's like one life and then like a part of it, only a part of it, dedicating to music. It's like being, I don't know, a Batman or a ladybug, I don't know, like from a cartoon.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because I also am passionate about a lot of things, so I don't know, like how can you be one person and then like switch up to a musician? So I think it is a part of life. Maybe not like so engaged, but still it is who you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And I guess it's something, yeah, people have to decide who they want to be and how much they are willing to sacrifice one thing for the other.
Yeah, maybe today I'm Batman and next day I'm superhero Ladybug.
I don't know, who's Ladybug?
It's a French cartoon.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. And it's like, it has this intro song. I'm Marinette, just a normal girl with a normal life until everybody knows my secret.
That sounds cool.
Питання. Чи грали ви на українській кубці, чи хотіли спробувати мені взагалі пограти, або використати в своїй кар'єрі чи музиці?
No, I haven't.
Have you ever thought?
No, I haven't tried many instruments. Actually, I'm kind of like a little bit conservative. Like I sort of have my things, and I don't really experiment much. But I do like, you know, if someone else plays that instrument very well and I know them and I hear it, then I will be like, cool, maybe let's do something. You know. Mm-hmm.
Чи є якісь українські артисти, з якими хотіли записати фіт чи трек якийсь?
Russia. I actually do. On my album, there is a duet with a guy, Vasya Richter. He sings on one song. Vasya Richter. Yeah, and we didn't write the song together, but he sings on it. Yeah, he appears on one song on the album.
Більш популярних.
Tak.
And what about any other famous artists?
I don't actually know too many current Ukrainian. I'm a little bit out of touch with music from today and age because I just don't listen to music actually. But I do. All the Ukrainian artists I listen to are kind of from the past. There's one woman I really like. Damn, I forget her name, but no, not just not Russia. It's sorry.
Добре, тоді саме смачна українська страва.
The most delicious Ukrainian food.
What is the most delicious? Okay. For me, there's quite a bit. Ukrainski borscht. I love borscht. Dyrani.
Добре, останнє питання. Ви були дуже багато в різних країнах світу. Де саме смачне Макдональдс?
You have been to many different countries, and which countries of McDonald's have you found tastiest?
Yeah, this is something I always tell everyone. Ukrainians are very proud of their McDonald's, and for good reason, because if you ever were to go to a McDonald's in Australia, you would go, what the hell is this? It's like they go out of their way to make everything look as bad as possible. But in Ukrainian, McDonald's looks like it's come from the advertising campaign. So, so it's probably Ukrainian McDonald's is some of the best, I think.
Okay, that's the last one question, okay?
Did we give you the idea to try something reckless with Ukrainian instruments? Because, you know, like, you said you can't really play the guitar, but when you started playing like drums, so it kind of get to some point that you like.
Yeah.
So maybe you should try something with Ukrainian instruments, because they have the strings, and like, you have to have the strings and the mindset of playing drums.
Possibly, yeah. Well, you know, if somehow I end up with one of these instruments in my apartment, then I'm sure I won't make its way onto a record, I think.
Well, somehow you ended up in an abandoned home, so
Yeah.
I think it is possible.
It's very possible, sure.
Окей, останнє.
When it comes to create a song, you're choosing to put your thoughts, feeling, and meaning to the song, or is it to make a listener to feel something you wanted to give them?
I think just, it's sort of unconscious, state. So I don't really have a clear intention when I make it. It's more that I'm just making it, and then let's see how I'm sort of putting myself into it, and by being honest with myself, that's more likely to make other people feel something, I think.
Okay.
Yep. Well, thanks everyone.
Okay, now we need to move to the end. So the two last questions. What are your plans for the future, and when you leave Ukraine, and will you return to Ukraine back?
So my future plans are always quite short term because I don't know where I'm going to be. So to finish the tour, head to the Baltics, see some old friends that I haven't seen for a while, and then after that, maybe see family again in Israel, and then come back to Ukraine at some point, play more concerts. Hopefully I'll have some more tours in some places too, in and around Europe.
Okay, and the last one, what would you like to say to Ukrainian listeners and young people?
In terms of regards to what do you think?
Like a musician, what do you want to say?
As a musician?
Or just for use, for young people, on this camera.
In this camera?
Пойдет на рилсы потом.
Stay in school, don't do drugs.
Okay.
No, I don't know. Just listen to yourself, I guess, but give yourself enough time and space to be worth listening to. Meaning that, maybe
don't do drugs. So I think that's it. Okay, we are finally can finish this podcast. Hurrah! Thank you for watching us. Thank you for following us. Thank you for joining us in this podcast and in our youth center. Thank you for joining to our audience. So, пока-пока, bye-bye.
Дякую.